Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amongst the ulama of the Tabi'een is an Imam whose name many people may know, but what they think him to be is not even the tip of the iceberg in comparison to who he really was. That Imam is Imam Muhammad ibn Seereen Rahimahullaah. People may have heard of Imam ibn Seereen Rahimahullah and his interpretations of dreams, so they think that his main role in life was being a dream interpreter. But the reality is that dream interpretation was only a small part of the life of Imam ibn Seereen Rahimahullah. West of Karbala in Iraq is a city known as Ain al-Tamr, and during the conquests of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum of Mesopotamia, a battle was fought here known as Ma'arakatu Ain al-Tamr, and the commander of the Muslim army was Hazrat Khalid ibn al-Walid radiallahu anhu. Ain al-Tamr was a garrison for the Persian soldiers, and they had a large contingent of Christian Arabs who were also part of the soldiers that inhabited the city. So after the inevitable result, the city fell to Hazrat Khalid radiallahu anhu, and within the city, Hazrat Khalid radiallahu anhu found a monastery. In the monastery was a locked room. So Hazrat Khalid radiallahu anhu broke down the door, and in the room were 40 slaves who were being held captive by the people of the city. These prisoners joined the rest of the booty from the city, and thus they were divided amongst the spoils of war. One of those prisoners was a man named Seereen, the father of Imam Muhammad ibn Seereen Rahimahullah. Seereen had the good fortune of being bought by Hazrat Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, and Seereen had a number of children, all of whom became great and knowledgeable in the deen. But the most famous of them all is Imam Muhammad ibn Seereen Rahimahullah. Imam ibn Seereen Rahimahullah was born in Basra in Iraq in the year 33 after Hijrah, during the Khilafah of Hazrat Uthman radiallahu anhu, and he was a freed slave of Hazrat Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, and that is why amongst the foremost teachers of Imam ibn Seereen Rahimahullah is Hazrat Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu. Besides Hazrat Anas radiallahu anhu, Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah had met 30 of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum and studied by Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Abdullah ibn Zubayr radiallahu anhuma, Hazrat Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, and others, besides studying by a number of the senior tabi'een as well. Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah quickly became a muhaddith of note, and the ahadith narrated through him are found in all of the 6 famous books of hadith. And Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah had a physical ailment. He was partially deaf. Yet he was someone that was very particular about how he would narrate a hadith. So he would make sure that he narrates the hadith with the literal words that he heard it. And he would not change one single letter when narrating it. And thus he is unanimously regarded as being one of the most reliable narrators of hadith. Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah was known for his great piety. And the ulama would say that they hadn't seen a faqih with more piety than him, nor a pious person with more understanding of the deen than him. He would spend his nights crying in front of Allah in ibadah at home, while in the day he would be a jovial, laughing person, because his ibadah was between him and Allah. It wasn't done for show and fake piety. Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah's habit in life was to fast every second day, and he had his daily portion of the Quran that he would recite, and he would spend a lot of time engaged in dhikr. It's said that when Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah used to go to the marketplace for a need, and he passed by people, then he would remind them to engage in dhikr, rather than sitting around doing nothing or engaging in futile speech. And Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah himself would never go to the marketplace at midday, but that he would be engaging in tasbih and takbir and tahleel. So someone asked him one day why he does it. So he said, it's because this is usually a time of negligence, meaning that people are busy with business and everything else. So a person tends to forget to make the most of the time by doing some good deed. As a result of this, Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah became a walking reminder of dhikr. So whenever he would walk in the marketplace and people saw him, then they would begin engaging in dhikr. Imam ibn Seereen rahimahullah was a muhaddith. He was a faqih. He was a qadi. He was a master in the science of distributing inheritance. But most of all, he was untouched in the science of interpreting dreams. Allah had granted Imam Ibn Sirin rahimahullah an ability to interpret dreams with ease above everyone else. So whenever the people had dreams that they wanted interpreted, then the first person that they turned to is Imam Ibn Sirin rahimahullah. There is no end to the amount of praise that the ulama have for Imam Ibn Sirin rahimahullah. One day, Imam Amr ibn Dinar rahimahullah made a comment saying, "By Allah, I've never seen anyone like Imam Tawus rahimahullah." Imam Ayyub al-Sakhdiyani rahimahullah heard it and said, "By Allah, if he had seen Imam Muhammad ibn Sirin rahimahullah, then he wouldn't have said this." And we know how amazing Imam Tawus rahimahullah was. Yet Imam Ayyub al-Sakhtiyani rahimahullah considered Imam ibn Sirin rahimahullah to be the greater one of the two. Imam Uthman al-Batti rahimahullah, he said, there was no one in all of Basra that was a better qadi than Imam ibn Sirin rahimahullah. Imam al-Sha'bi rahimahullah, the great Imam al-Sha'bi rahimahullah, used to tell people to cling to and study by Imam ibn Sirin rahimahullah. Imam ibn Sirin rahimahullah was a person that would never inconvenience anyone in any way, to the point that if he would be invited to a walima for a meal, then he would first go home and eat. And when he was asked the reason for this, he replied saying, "I do not want to carry my hunger with me and relieve it using the food of people." Meaning that if I go there and I'm hungry, then I may eat more food than I should. And that will deprive someone of that bit of food which could have fed him, but now which I have eaten instead. Imam Ibn Sirin rahimahullah has many wise statements that he made throughout his life. But possibly one of his most famous ones is, "Inna hadha al-ilma deenun, fanzuru amman ta'khuduna deenakum," which means, verily this knowledge of deen is deen itself. So look and be careful who you take your deen from. In other words, what you learn as being matters of deen, you will implement it in your life and it will form part of your beliefs. So if you study from a person who has some aspect of misguidance in him, then you will have that same misguidance within you as well. Imam Ibn Sirin rahimahullah passed away at the age of 77 years old in the year 110 after Hijrah and was buried in Basra, the land of his birth and the land where Hazrat Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu had settled. May Allah grant us the ability to study the deen from correct and untainted ulama, and not from every random person who speaks on the deen from his own opinion without any knowledge. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen, wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.